What's up, my meatballs? It's Aaronitmar. Welcome back to some more Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Last time we got the big Goron sword doing the entire trading side quest in one episode. Now, this time, before we head over to the water temple where she recommended us we go, because that's where the source of the plague towards the Zora's domain and Lake Hylia is, we want to do a couple of side things. Now that we have the iron boots and Zora's tunic, we're able to get a couple of pieces of heart and sculptula. So we're gonna go ahead, I believe it's this tree that we're gonna want to bomb. Put a bomb here. That's just a regular Poe, don't worry about it. No, it's not that one. Get out of here. Alright. It may be It's in the northwest, I know that, and we are in the northwest. I'd say we're more west, though. So let's try and head this way. It might be this tree right here. I sees it, I sees it. Alright, it's this tree right here. Hop off Epona. Throw that at it. There's the hole. Alright, hole's right here. Drop down. Alright, we're gonna want to defeat this blue tech so it doesn't bother us. Alright, so now we want to go ahead and put on our iron boots and sink right down to this piece of heart number 26. There we go. Now we just need one more piece to complete a heart container. Alright, so we'll put our regular boots back on, and we're gonna go ahead and just float back up. Just float on back up. Alright. Alright, so now we want to go ahead and head over to Lake Hylia, which the entrance is down in the very, very, very south of Hyrule Field. We're actually going to need to be there for both heart piece purposes and for the next temple, which we will be starting in this video to my dismay, my chagrin. I'm not really looking forward to the water temple. Anyone who knows this game knows that it can be a pain. It's not too hard once you get it down, but it's still rather difficult. Alright, so go up here. Alright, first we want to head over here to this magic bean plant. The heart piece is at the top of this magic bean plant. If you haven't planted this, you can also play the Scarecrow song. As you can see, Navi is pointing right there. Out of here. Navi is pointing right there, so Pierre the Scarecrow will show up there if you play your Scarecrow song. But I just prefer the Magic Bean Plant. It takes less time overall. And there we go. Piece of heart, which has completed a new heart container. Excellent. Hop down. Ouch! Ha, guess what? We beat you here. We beat you here. Alright, there's one more thing we want to do inside the Lake Laboratory. We were here last episode to give this weird guy the prescription for the Zora's, to give him the eyeball frog and get the prescription eye drops. But we actually want to drop down here. We'll be able to come back here later and do something, but we can't do it right now. What we want to do is sink to the very bottom, and since we have the Zora's tunic, we are not able to drown. And look at that scary shark. Scary shark. Alright, what we want to do is roll into this. And it spawns this Skulltula. And we're going to have to use our hook shot to attack it and get the token. And this is going to be good practice for the temple coming up. Because when we're underwater, and we will be underwater in the temple, the only way we can attack things is using our hook shot. So better be prepared for that. Alright, let's head on out and exit this place. Alright, as you can see, Lake Hylia is pretty much dried up except for right here. We'll find out the reason for that, like the precise reason for that, in just a second. Well, not just a second, and like in the temple. But she told us that it was because there was a monster in here that was, you know, taking up all the water and poisoning the lake. So what we want to do is put on our iron boots, and we want to sink down, and I'm going to shoot this this little diamond looking thing. That will cause it to yank out and just sort of float away. And now this opens up access to the water temple. Alright, now you may have noticed something I just did right there. The screen sort of cut away. I had the iron boots on for 1 second, and then the Kokiri boots on the next second. That's going to be the main feature of this dungeon. And because it's so tedious to go here, switch between the two, and if you're on an item screen, you have to go over one, I'm just going to go ahead and edit all of that out. So if I'm mid-conversation and I go, iron boots, that means we switched over to the iron boots, and you're not supposed to have noticed. So that's where that is concerned. So that, just so you know, when I do this, I put on the iron boots, and when I do this, I took them off, and I did that all in screen. But just because I don't want to waste the video time, because that can add up to be like 2-3 minutes of actual video. So that's some good time to save. Alright, so what we want to do is sink down to the very bottom. Iron boots! I want to sink down to the very bottom. And you'll see these torches right here. The torches are the indication that this is the room we want to go to first. So if we head over here. Oh, you, if I'm right, Link? You're Link, aren't you? It's me, your fiancé, Rucho, Princess of the Zoras. I never forget the vows we made to each other each 7 years ago. You're a terrible man to have kept me waiting for these 7 long years. But now is not the time to talk about love. I'm sure you've already seen it. Zora's domain, totally frozen. A young man named Sheik saved me from under the ice. But my father and the other Zoras have not, yet. I want to save them all. I want to save Zora's domain. You have to help me. This is a request from me, the woman who is going to be your wife. Link, you have to help me destroy the evil monster in the temple, okay? Inside the water temple, there are 3 places where you can change the water level. I'll lead the way. Follow me, quickly! Alright, and she floats on up, so clearly we want to do the same. We need to float on up there. Alright, so let's go ahead and float on up. This is going to be very, very tedious throughout this temple. The sinking isn't too bad. The sinking seems to be, the sinking seems to be a lot faster than the floating for some reason. Which is kind of ironic, because you're supposed to be, when you're going against the pressure, you'll be going slower. So you can see she's not there. She disappeared on us. But what we want to do is, attack all these little spike creatures. Come on, I'm spinning the control stick. Alright, there we go. Defeated all the spike things, even though none of them were on screen when I did it. And this gives us a nice treasure box. Alright, and we got the dungeon map. Alright, so we got the dungeon map. So let's go ahead and open it up. And you may have noticed the Triforce thing. I sort of capitalized on it a little bit during the when we first got up here. And as you can see, it's the sign of the royal family. So whenever we see the sign of the royal family, guess what we got to do? Gotta play Zelda's Lullaby, and this will actually sink the water level down to nothing. There will actually be no water level in the temple. So what we want to do is drop on down. And now you can see we have access to this torch and these 2 unlit torches. And if any of your puzzle instincts come into play here, we're going to want to take our arrows and shoot the flame and carry it over to that torch. And then carry it over to, I'm not facing the right way, to that torch. There is a time limit on that, so if you don't get both within the time limit, one of them will go out. So if we enter this room, we'll see a new kind of enemy. These enemies are these shell blades. They're kind of weird. They only attack with their mouth, but their mouth is their their weak point, which is kind of odd. But they're pretty easy to handle on land. We'll encounter them later underwater, and they're a bit more difficult to handle. But if we go ahead and open up this treasure chest, there is our first small key. So now we want to head back out to the main room. Alright, let's keep going. So next thing we want to do is head over to, oh gosh, the lower south portion of this area. And for those that, since we don't have the compass yet, I know ahead of time that we entered from the south. So this is the east, so now all of a sudden we've got perspective. So we want to return back the way we came, but since there's no water level, we want to go to the lowest level. This is intentional. There's a sculpture we can get over this way. As you can see here, there's a crack down in the wall. So what we want to do is go ahead and put a bomb there, obviously. And it breaks! Hooray! But where will this lead? Let's put on the iron boots and find out. Alright. So as you can see, we've got these shell blades here. That one was easier because it was in a straight hallway. There's a room where like 4 of them will drop down on you, and because they're all at a different angle, it's kind of awkward because they'll open their mouths, but they'll only open it just barely for you to be near. So like if you're even just the slight bit off, you'll hit their blade and it won't, or their shell, and it won't matter. All right, so let's go ahead and shoot across here and kill these 2 blue tektites. Excellent. And now we've got a little gate here, and you can hear a skulltula, but there's no way to get to that skulltula. Well, there is a way, and it's called using your magic and your N64's limitations to be able to reach through that that wall. All right, grab that, and there we go, gold skulltula. All right, so now we're gonna head back out to the main room, and I think that's going to be it for this episode. So far in the water temple, we're not doing too bad. It's not getting too confusing yet. The water temple has its reputation of being the most confusing because, particularly in the N64 version, it's possible for you to get stuck where you literally cannot get out because you've used all your keys and you can't leave. And that has caused people to have to reset their console or reset their game actually. And that's sort of given the water temple an unfair reputation because it's happened to some people, so now everyone thinks it's just insanely difficult, myself included. Alright, but that's it for this episode of Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Next time we're going to go ahead and continue on in the water temple. So thank you all for watching this episode, and I will see you in the next one where we will continue the water temple and hopefully defeat the evil that is lurking within. So thank you all for watching, and have a fantastic day. And wow. Let's take that, villainous scum.